Infinite Warfare Zombies was a dumpster fire of a game. I think that's something that we can all agree on, right? But the guns have always been in my opinion at least, some of the best in the franchise. It's just a shame they were surrounded by a complete mess of a game. So I thought, why don't we take those guns and put them into a game that isn't a complete mess? And with that, I'll be attempting to beat Gorod Krovi only using Infinite Warfare guns. There's also something I need to tell you as well. I've never beaten this map, like ever. So this is going to be an experience for all of us, huh? I spawned in with the Kendall, which by the way is the worst starting pistol I have ever used. And because the Kendall is that bad, I basically knifed my way through the opening 2 rounds until I bought the Rasion-EMX. Yeah, I don't know either. With my newly discovered firepower, I made my way through the map some more, and at the beginning of round 4, the power was turned on and it was time to properly start this Easter egg. With the power now on, I needed to get myself some Groff modules, which can only be acquired by killing zombies, but luckily they are pretty common drops. I was also collecting the trophies as I went, just to try and be a little bit more efficient. On round 4, we got our first module being blue. We place it in the machine and then make our way over to the module where I then take it down. Yeah, wouldn't be a proper Satch video without some early game embarrassment. After reviving, we got the pod charged and we got our dragon control piece. The box was also in the same room, so I gave it a spin and we got ourselves the X-Eon. They really they're just stupidly named guns in this game, huh? One thing you should know about this mod is that there is custom drops, and these custom drops are free Pack-a-Punch and free perks, of which I got myself one on round 5, being a free Pack-a-Punch. So on round 5, we got our first upgraded gun. I also got the second code cylinder being yellow, but that's not nearly as exciting. I make my way down to the machine to place the cylinder, and on my way I get my first shield part. We place the cylinder down, and on the way out I grab speed. I flipped around and got our second pod charged, and also our second dragon control piece, with the third being picked up the following round. We place the parts where they need to be, and now it's time to ride a dragon. Don't make that weird. Say what you want about this map, love it or hate it, but you can't deny that it's pretty damn cool that you get to ride a literal dragon in zombies. That's some cool shit right there. We make it to Pack-a-Punch, and now we have a few things to do, with the first being a pretty lengthy lockdown that I always seem to make look harder than it actually is. I get about halfway done when I notice I'm running pretty low on ammo, and because I'm an idiot, I took the free maxi that spawns in pretty much straight after I started the lockdown, so I was kind of screwed. But luckily for me, there is a gobblegum machine in the area, so I gave it a spin and out popped a Killjoy. Cashback would have been preferred, but I'll never say no to 2 free insta-kills. We make it into the last part of the lockdown, which is where things get spicy. I pop an insta and get to blasting, and shortly later we were finally done. Before leaving, there was one other thing to do, so I run downstairs, shoot the egg and pick it up, and now we can leave. Oh yeah, gotta shoot the light in the sewer as well, can't forget that. With the egg now in my possession, I need to charge it up, so I place it down in front of the dragon command and wait 2 full rounds. Whilst I was waiting, I got the shield built and returned to the Pack-a-Punch to pick up the dragon strike, because I definitely didn't forget about that. It's now round 10 and the egg has been charged, but I now have to charge it even more by getting kills in 3 different ways, being kill zombies that are on fire, get penetration kills, and finally shield kills. Now the first and last of those are a doddle to do, even though the former may have gotten me downed, but oh well. The real pain came from trying to get the penetration kills, because surprise surprise, having an assault rifle and an SMG for this, it isn't gonna work. I also didn't know if a shotgun would help, so I didn't bother wasting my points buying one from the wall, but I did know snipers would help, which meant it was time to start hitting the box. After a couple of rounds of doing just that, I got no snipers, not even a sniff, but I did manage to pull the Ray Gun Mark III, which I didn't even know would be available, and of course I took it. I'm not going to pass up on the best version of the ray gun. I might be dumb, but I'm not an idiot. I also pulled myself the Stallion, and the Stallion is wild. Basically a 44 Magnum that was very capable of getting those penetration kills. With the egg now fully charged and another trophy or 2 collected, I made my way back to Pack-a-Punch, where I placed the egg down and then was then put into a lockdown. The lockdown was a breeze with the weapons I had, and I was done in no time. Now I just needed to wait 2 more rounds until the egg was done, being an egg. I guess. And then we could move on. I could have left this area and continued doing something else, but I decided to hang around and just wait for the egg the old-fashioned way. Upon returning, I got bombarded with zombies and didn't even get a chance to actually get my little dragon buddy, so I decided to just wait until the end of the round, and in the meantime, I'd just do the next step. The next step is a bit of a lengthy one. Gotta find a cylinder in one of those weird-looking clock tube things and then find another one of those things that has a green light on the top part. And this is where I then ran into a pretty big problem. I found the cylinder that you need in the department store, but then I guess something broke as all of the lights on the, the weird things just kind of went out. It was dead ass like someone just flipped the light switch, and now I was just pretty much screwed. I spent the next 10 minutes running back and forth between all of the locations, looking for the light, only to not find it, and I then came to the conclusion it was bugged, so I restarted. And the second run was going way better than the first, mainly because I hadn't downed yet. But this time when we placed the egg down at Pack-a-Punch and complete the lockdown, I did leave. And in the 2 rounds I had before collecting the egg, I did the next step, which thankfully this time around worked. Our cylinder was in the Dragon Command, and our light was in the Tank Factory. From here I had the easiest job in the world, as all I now had to do was make sure all of the dials were set to 1. Like, literally every single one of them had to be set to 1. So, a few minutes later, I collected the cylinder and placed it in the computer beneath Sophia. Now this is where things get tricky. I had to enter the word Kronos into the dial thing next to Sophia. Not only was this annoying because I had a zombie up my ass the entire time, it was annoying because Kronos is spelt with 2 O's, and I only went and spelt it with a U, so it reads Kronos instead of Kronos, because of course it's spelt with 2 O's. Silly me. The best thing about this was I didn't know I'd spelt it wrong until I'd collected all of the trophies a few rounds later, which is when the real confusion began, when I tried to place the trophies only for them to not be placed. A little research and a few rounds later, I did find the correct spelling, and now I could finally place the trophies. That's safe to say I was just a little, teeny tiny bit tilted by that, but oh well. The real pain, however, started now. This was the final step before the boss, or the final 6 steps, I guess. And as I stated at the beginning of this video, I've never done these before, and therefore I didn't really know what to expect from a gameplay perspective. The first challenge I got also just so happened to be the most annoying out of all of them, being the Valkyrie challenge, where essentially you have to escort a broken Valkyrie all the way from spawn to the Dragon Command. And to save some time, I started this step on round 18. I ended this step on round 24. And because this is an Infinite Warfare gun challenge, I tried doing it with the Infinite Warfare guns and just kept failing over and over until I just said, F it, I'm using the Mark III because, well, spoilers, I got that again, and lo and behold, it made the step a million times easier. The rest of the challenges were thankfully much simpler and easier going on my mental. The next one I had to do was the Wisp challenge, which was a breeze to do, as all I had to do was shoot him a few times with the Mark III. The third challenge, and the only other one to give me a little bit of trouble, was the Mangala challenge, as it was mainly just Valkyrie step 2.0. Only this time he kept getting lost or would die when I tried to shoot his arm off, which led to me then swapping out the Pack-a-Punched NV4 for an unpack-a-punched G-Rail, which would soon become a bit of a problem, but we'll get to that when the time comes. With an unpack-a-punched gun, shooting off the Mangala's arm without killing him was now easy, and that challenge was completed pretty quickly. The rest of the challenges were also relatively easy. Next step up was the Groff module. Now I didn't have the range for this with the shotgun or the ammo with the G-Rail, so I once again kind of used the Mark III for this. The bomb step was up after this, which was basically just anxiety the step, but we got it done, and finally we were onto the lockdown. And when I say all I did for about 2 or 3 minutes was run in a circle, I mean it. We get to Pack-a-Punch area, the shotgun takes out the Mangalas in just 1 or 2 rounds, and then I just leave the last one alive and run around in a circle for 3 minutes. So 3 minutes later, we grab what we need and we head back to Sophia. We give her the disc and we get our power core for Nikolai. From here, I head back to spawn and send out our little dragon buddy with the power core, and now it's time for the boss fight. The challenges kind of became Mark III central, and I knew I'd just blitz the dragon and Nikolai if I just kept on using it, so I didn't. Well, I did just for the Mangalas, but for the 2 bosses, I was strictly only going to use the Infinite Warfare guns. So I did. The first fight with the dragon took me a little longer than I would have liked, as I genuinely just didn't know when I could and when I couldn't deal damage to the dragon. I eventually figured it out, and the G-Rail took him down. And now that just meant there was one boss to go. The fight with Nikolai was a little more difficult, as I didn't really know where his weak spots were, but I got it figured out and got on with it. But then we struck a bit of trouble, as I was beginning to run low on ammo in the G-Rail. I managed to take out all of his power cores but one, the final one in his chest. But I'm now completely out of ammo in the G-Rail, and I'd already used the free maxi in the center of the map at the beginning of this fight. The shotgun was all I had left, but I got myself in a bit of a sticky situation and was using the Mark III just to clear out the regular zombies. And then I also, just out of instinct, kinda, maybe, possibly, shot the core with the Mark III, and it was done. And that's probably the most Satch thing to happen, but there you have it. Gorod Krovi beaten with mostly, there's one in preference, mostly Infinite Warfare guns. Thank you for watching, and as always, I'll see you in the next one.